$194,413. That's the number on your screen. It's the median salary for an AI engineer. And it feels like a typo. You're looking at a job description filled with words you've only heard in podcasts, multi-agent systems, RAG pipelines, and a familiar, sinking feeling hits your chest. It's not just imposter syndrome, it's the cold fear that your entire career is on the wrong side of a massive, uncrossable chasm. The national average for a senior software engineer, your current role, is $157,863. That $37,000 gap feels like it would take a PhD and 5 years of research to cross. This video is for the engineer who feels that gap. It's a 6-month roadmap built specifically for software engineers that turns that anxiety into an actionable plan. But what if I told you that for a software engineer like Maya, and like you, it's not a chasm at all? What if 70% of that bridge is already built? In about 5 minutes, I'm going to show you the single most valuable skill hiring managers are looking for right now, the one that unlocks that salary premium. The biggest myth about becoming an AI engineer is that you need to throw out your existing skills and start over with a PhD's worth of math and theory. That belief is what keeps most software engineers stuck. It's wrong. Your software engineering background isn't a liability, it's your single greatest superpower. Picture a diagram. On one side, we list the skills of a senior software engineer. Expert-level Python, building and consuming REST APIs, Git for version control, Docker for containerization, and solid systems design principles. On the other side, we list the requirements for a modern AI engineer. Now, watch what happens. An arrow shoots from Python on the left to Python on the right. An arrow from REST APIs connects directly to building AI-powered services. Git, Docker, systems design, they all map over, lighting up 70% of the AI engineer's skill set. This is Maya's realization. Her ability to architect, build, containerize, and deploy a production-ready system is the exact skill that most data science graduates are missing. They might understand the theory of neural networks, but employers need people who can ship a product. You're not starting from zero, you're starting from year 5. This is the insight that makes the transition from software engineer to AI engineer feel not just possible, but logical. It's why, according to Google's Dora report, 90% of software professionals are already using or planning to use AI tools. The industry is coming to you. This reframes the entire problem. Your skills aren't becoming obsolete. They're becoming the foundation for the most valuable roles in tech. The question changes from how do I learn everything to how do I surgically add the missing 30%? Let me know in the comments, have you ever felt that pressure to just throw everything out and start over? Just type yes or no. It helps to see you're not alone. Answering that question correctly is critical. This is the exact moment most engineers make a fatal error in judgment. The common advice is to buckle down for months of dense theory, calculus, linear algebra, before you write a single line of AI-powered code. This is where most roadmaps fail. We're going to do the opposite. We start with phase 1. 2 months focused on one thing, building first and letting the theory follow from practice. This is Maya's first major decision. She skips the heavy textbooks. Instead, she goes to Anthropic's website and gets a free API key for Claude. In her code editor, we see her write a simple 15-line Python script. It's nothing complex. She defines a system prompt to set the context, sends a user query, and gets a response. She runs it, and it works. A small smile. It's not a product, it's not a feature, but it's a connection. She just commanded one of the most powerful language models in the world. This is the moment the abstract becomes tangible. From there, she iterates. The next step is crucial, forcing the model to give back structured data. A raw string of text is a novelty, a clean JSON object is the building block of an application. She refines her prompts, learning how to ask not just for an answer, but for an answer formatted in a predictable, machine-readable way. We see her build her first real project, a simple marketing copy generator. It's a small Flask API. It takes a product description as an input and returns 3 distinct JSON objects, each containing a different variation of ad copy. It isn't going to change the world, but it's a real, working, AI-powered application. This is the most important identity shift in the entire journey. She's no longer just a student of AI, she's an engineer who builds with AI. This is the first step on the salary staircase. With just this skill, building reliable API-driven AI features, She's already closed about $10,000 of that $37,000 gap. She's not an AI engineer yet, but she's now a premium software engineer, and the market pays for that. In these first 2 months, the focus is surgically precise. You learn core LLM concepts at a high level: what a transformer is, what a prompt does. You master prompt engineering and structured output. You get comfortable calling APIs from models like Claude or OpenAI. What you intentionally skip is just as important. You don't train your own models, and you don't get lost in complex math. You build. To make this first step even easier, I've created a GitHub gist with the exact 15-line Python script Maya used to get structured JSON from the Claude API. You can get it running in less than 10 minutes. The link is in the description. And for those of you who have already started playing with LLM APIs, what's the most surprising thing you've managed to build with just a simple prompt? Share your mini projects in the comments below. It's a great way to inspire everyone else. This simple application is the fundamental building block for everything that comes next. This is also the exact point where many brilliant engineers make a fatal mistake. They follow a path that looks incredibly productive but leads to a dead end with zero job offers. Let me tell you about Dev. Dev is a senior software engineer, just as smart and capable as Maya. When he decides to pivot to AI, he does what seems logical. He dives headfirst into theory. Imagine a montage of his next year. He's grinding through university lectures on backpropagation, he's reading dense research papers on transformer architectures, and his GitHub becomes a graveyard of tutorial projects from online machine learning courses. He's putting in the work. He feels like he's making progress. After a full year, he finally starts applying for AI engineer roles. The rejection emails pile up. One piece of feedback from a hiring manager is absolutely brutal, and it stops him in his tracks. The manager wrote, "You have a list of academic skills, but you have no proof you can actually ship a real-world AI product. You look like a junior academic, not a senior engineer." That single sentence invalidates an entire year of his life. He almost gives up on the transition entirely. This is the vicarious almost quit moment for you. You can feel his frustration and learn from his mistake without having to make it yourself. The tension you might feel, wondering if you're on the same path, is real. The release is knowing that Maya's path, the path you're on, is about to diverge sharply to focus on the one skill that proves you can build. So, which path feels more familiar right now? Are you on Team Maya, focused on building, or Team Dev, deep in the theory? Let me know in the comments. There's no wrong answer, just a different starting point. Dev's mistake wasn't learning, it was learning the wrong things in the wrong order. To avoid his fate, you need to master the number one skill hiring managers are asking for by name. Why 2026? Because that's the point where major tech analysts predict that RAG proficiency will move from a nice-to-have to a baseline requirement on over 70% of AI engineering roles. It's the event horizon. This is phase 2. Maya can now make a language model generate text and structure it as JSON. This is table stakes. It proves you can talk to an AI. The challenge is, the world's most powerful AI is a genius and a complete idiot. It can write a Shakespearean sonnet about quantum physics, but it can't tell you your company's vacation policy. It knows everything on the public internet and nothing about your private data. The engineer who can solve that one single problem is priceless. Maya moves beyond single API calls and tackles this exact problem. She decides to build a chat with your documents application. Think about the flow. A user uploads a company's internal PDF. First, her application breaks that document down into smaller, logical chunks of text. Next, using a free model from a library called Hugging Face Transformers, she converts each chunk into a list of numbers called an embedding. You can think of this embedding as a unique coordinate that represents the meaning of that text in a vast, multidimensional space of ideas. She then stores these coordinates in a specialized vector database called Pinecone, which is built for one purpose: incredibly fast similarity search. Now, when a user asks a question, her app converts the question into its own coordinate, queries Pinecone to find the most relevant document chunks nearby, and then feeds those chunks to the Claude API as context. The final prompt essentially says, using only the following information, answer the user's question. The entire pipeline, from the user's query to the final response, is orchestrated using a framework called LangChain. The result is magic. An LLM that can answer detailed, specific questions about information it was never trained on. This is Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, and it's the single most valuable, hireable skill in applied AI today. This project is what makes her look like a seasoned AI engineer. It marks the identity shift from I can build simple AI toys to I can build production grade AI systems that solve core business problems. Mastering RAG is the practical application that makes the transition from software engineer to AI engineer a reality, and this is the biggest leap up the staircase. Mastering RAG doesn't just close the rest of that $37,000 gap, it pushes her past the median. This skill alone is what unlocks roles in the $200,000 to $220,000 range, because it solves a billion-dollar problem for nearly every company on Earth, making their private data useful. Now, this might sound complex. In reality, it's just a sequence of steps, and you already have the core API and Python skills to connect them. It's a system, and as an engineer, you already know how to build systems. We're going deep on exactly how to build these RAG and agentic systems, including a full series on LangGraph next month, so if you want to see that, make sure you're subscribed. Mastering RAG is what gets you past the resume filters and into the interview. What gets you the offer? Is proving you can think bigger than a single pipeline. That's phase 3, the Capstone project. This is where Maya moves from building a feature to building a product. She defines her capstone, an autonomous system for processing user feedback. Instead of a linear pipeline, she designs a team of collaborating AI agents. Imagine a diagram of her system built using a framework like LangGraph or Crew AI. It's a small digital organization. The first agent is the triage agent. Its only job is to read raw feedback from a database and categorize it. Is this a bug report, a feature request, or a general question? Once categorized, it passes the task to the right specialist. If it's a question, the task goes to Agent 2, a researcher. This agent uses the exact RAG pipeline Maya built in Phase 2 to search the internal knowledge base for relevant documents and solutions. Finally, the information is passed to Agent 3, the writer agent, which drafts a personalized, empathetic, and technically accurate response to the user. This is the kind of system that makes a hiring manager sit up and take notice, and it's why McKinsey's prediction that AI will create up to 50 million jobs by 2030 is both exciting and terrifying. Those jobs aren't going to the people who can use AI, they're going to the people who can orchestrate it. And this is where Maya's software engineering superpower becomes the final decisive advantage. She doesn't just leave this project in a Jupyter notebook, she containerizes the entire multi-agent application with Docker and deploys it to a live endpoint on AWS. It's a real end-to-end product. And this is the final step that separates the $194,000 AI engineer from the $250,000 AI architect. The ability to not just build a pipeline, but to design and deploy an autonomous system is the rarest and most valuable skill on the market. Now, this can feel like the final boss. It sounds intimidating. It's not a brand new mountain to climb. It's simply combining the API skills from Phase 1 with the RAG pipeline from Phase 2, and then wrapping the entire thing in the deployment knowledge you already possess. This project solidifies the final identity shift. You're no longer an engineer who can build an AI feature. You're an engineer who can design, build, and deploy an end-to-end AI application. Here's a challenge for you. Think of one repetitive process at your current job. Could you imagine a simple 3-agent system to automate it? Sketch it out on a napkin and drop the high-level idea in the comments. Let's see what we can come up with. With this project on her GitHub, Maya is no longer just a software engineer, she's an AI engineer. The problem is, hiring managers won't know that unless she tells them. Here's how she transformed her resume. Her old resume was full of solid, respectable software engineering achievements. The before version had a line that said, "Developed REST APIs for a user management service." It's competent, it's professional. In today's market, it's also invisible. The after version reframes that same core skill in the language of AI. It now reads, engineered and deployed a REST API to serve a multi-agent AI system, reducing feedback response time by 80%. Notice the difference. It's not just what she built, it's what that system did. It connects her engineering skill directly to an AI application and a measurable business outcome. Her Capstone project becomes the star of the entire document, a single powerful one-liner at the very top of her experience. designed, built, and deployed an end-to-end multi-agent AI application for automated user support, leveraging RAG for knowledge retrieval. That one sentence tells a hiring manager everything they need to know. This is the final identity shift. You no longer have a collection of skills, you have a compelling career narrative. The direct translation of your project work into this kind of language is what gets you past the automated filters and impresses the human beings on the other side. This is the final step that makes the software engineer to AI engineer transition official. That $194,000 job doesn't begin with a PhD or a 40-hour course. It begins with a single API call. So your only mission tonight is this. Open your code editor, sign up for the free Claude API, and write the 10 lines of Python that send a prompt and print the response. It will take you less than 30 minutes. It won't get you a job, it won't even go on your resume, but it will do something far more important. It will prove in your own terminal that the gap isn't as wide as you think. It will shift your identity from someone with a plan to someone who has already started. The link to the API and the gist we mentioned is right below. Stop watching, start building.